In the previous episode, I discussed the raw stock I would be using. I showed the pre-cut upper face frame components, discussed the basic pocket hole joinery, and displayed the jig I would be using. I went over some basic frame prep and frame design that I'll be using. Now I'll continue with the assembly of one of the face frames.
One of the things I want to really emphasize here is you want to mark the backs. When you're doing operations on a piece of equipment, you don't want to have to know, am I got the front, am I got the back, or what? You just want to keep working on it. You want to drill your holes in the back like this, which means you need to either rotate counterclockwise or clockwise so that you're drilling the hole and still seeing your marks on the back side of this rail. Otherwise, the last thing you want to do is drill holes here and then flip it over like that and drill holes here, because now you've got holes here and holes here on opposite sides, and you've got a waste piece of material. Hopefully you can reuse it for something that requires smaller holes or smaller length, but you want to really make sure that you're always looking at the back side when you're drilling the holes. While you're drilling these pocket holes, they create a lot of dust. Essentially, you're drilling holes out. And I try to collect as much dust as possible all the time. So I've got my system hooked up to a dust collector. I've had to kind of adapt some pieces here to go into this. But it does pretty well. I mean, you see what little chips are that are left from drilling these out. So it does pretty good at doing that. Now I've already pre-measured all the rest of them out right now on this batch. So all I'm going to do is be drilling hole after hole after hole. Taking note that the back side is always facing me. And that takes care of drilling all the holes on the frames I've got cut out so far. Sorry for all the noise on my impact driver. My other cordless drill shot crap. Only thing I have is a corded one, and this, hindsight, probably have been better to use a corded one. A lot less hammering, but right now this got the job done, so I think we're good at this moment. We'll start assembling these frames next to make room for more. Now, to help with the assembly of the frame, I have elected to clamp these down. But one thing you will notice is I'm going to be screwing on this side. I don't really want to screw like this. It's not comfortable to me, so I want it to be like this. My arrow is pointing that way for the front, and on this one it's pointing the wrong way for the front. So I need to actually turn this guy around so he's like this, and then I'll just clamp him down so that he is stationary and will not spin on me. Now all my frames are pointing the same way. I'll line this up here with the end grain, making sure everything's square and nice here. So we're just going to put a little bit of good old yellow glue here. Yeah. Call me an old school guy. I did not use a paintbrush there. Make sure this is all lined up. Again, so it's flush. Clamp it down. Unfortunately, my clamp wasn't set perfect enough, so what happened was it just rocked right off. It's a little too high, not enough on the bottom cleat a little, or the bottom board. So it's perfect right there. We'll get a screw. Double check, it's still good. Do the other one. Now what you'll see here is because the amount of glue, we got some squeeze out. We'll just wipe that down some. So there's not much squeeze out. That all gets sanded away anyway, so I'm not too worried about that. This is my cabinet 9. This is the style right here. This is the bottom. So we'll get that taken care of. Now we'll do the other side the exact same way. Add a little bit of clamping pressure right here just to hold him so he doesn't rock on me too much anyway. Try putting a little less glue down this time, but I can still see I got too much. She's gonna have some squeeze out too, but that's fine. We'll just clean it up. Over, reset it again. More lined up. Lined up good. A couple of the 1¼ inch fine thread screws. These cabinets are actually going in my house. We're redoing our kitchen. So, going to be not too worried about too much of the squeeze out on the corners, although I don't really want a lot in there. They're actually going to be painted. My wife wants them painted, which is fine. Make sure all the sides are facing the same way. Now the problem I have here is I got to put both of these down at once. And to do that, we're going to have to basically glue both sides. So we'll have this guy temporarily held there to the workbench. Get 2 more screws out. Just put a dab of glue there. Dab of glue there. Run some glue out, wipe it off underneath the bench. Now, unless you got some squares to actually, hold your cabinet nice and nice, bigger face frames can get trickier. The bigger they are, the trickier they are to do. This is actually a relatively small one. This is actually the one that's going above our microwave, so the real key thing, though, is the more time you spend on prepping and setting things up, the less time you have to fix and correct stuff to get things to work out. essentially, there's one cabinet right there. Because this clamp was off just a little bit, you can see there's a little bit of a burr there. I'll have to belt sand that down. This one's pretty good. Overall, it worked out pretty good. Obviously here I've kind of figured out more of the right amount of glue to use. A lot of over glue here on this side, very little on these corners. The second ones that I did, it's one face frame down, about 15 to go.